Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Jay Fulgencio with Orgenics, and today we're celebrating National Small Business Week, a time to honor the dreamers, doers, and everyday entrepreneurs who fuel our communities and economy. Starting a small business is exciting, but let's be real. It can also feel overwhelming, especially when it comes to the financial side of things. That's why we created this special guide for you. In the financial roadmap to entrepreneurship, I walk through things you need to build a strong financial foundation, from budgeting for startup costs to choosing a business structure, exploring funding options, managing cash flow, and more. This isn't about spreadsheets and stress. It's about giving you the confidence, clarity, and step-by-step tools to bring your business vision to life. So as we celebrate the heart and hustle of small business owners this week, let's make sure your financial game is just as strong as your passion. Let's dive in and cheers to building something amazing. Happy small business. Hello and welcome to the Financial Roadmap to Entrepreneurship, a step-by-step guide for beginners. Now this webinar, this presentation is really for the folks who are starting out their business or thinking about starting their business or just started and kind of want to get some roadmap on their finances. And this is given from the perspective of someone who has been through those shoes. So I'm not a CPA, so I'm not an accountant. So what I give advice is from educational purposes, from experiences, and from research. But of course, this information is going to be very helpful to help you out in building a step-by-step financial roadmap, and of course, transitioning from your idea to launching your company and getting those finances in shape. One of the major reasons why business owners don't get financing for their company if they're getting capital with this type of a loan is because their finances are all over the place. And to get your finances in order, building the foundations at the very beginning of your business and getting that financing good is going to help build a good practice later on down the road. So of course, assessing your financial readiness, one of the things, of course, evaluate your current finances, right? So what are you going through? What's your personal financial situation at the moment? If you have outstanding debts, for example, major credit card debt, a huge car loan, maybe you're paying your kids college tuition. Your income, you don't have good income stability. You really want to perhaps reevaluate your current situation as to whether or not you're going to leave your current job and go launch your company, right? Go first take care of your personal financial situation. Go go pay your debts, your immediate debts, your credit card debts, go pay that off. Have some money in your savings account and get financially income stable, right? That way you have that under control before you go on and launch your company. Calculate how much startup capital you're going to need. Typically, depending on the business, you may need anywhere from $10,000 on up. Again, it just depends on the type of company you're going to start. It may be even more, right? If you're going to have a coffee shop or trucking company, car wash, you're going to need a lot much more capital than $10,000. So calculate as to how much you're going to need. You can simply go online and find some industry reports that's going to help you to calculate. Maybe you work in the industry that you know how much it's going to cost. And that's another point, right? If you're going to start a business in the industry that you have experience with, it's easier to calculate those startup costs. If you don't have any experience in the industry that you're going to launch a company in, you're really going to have to do your homework. And then, of course, ask people, find the research online, and so on. And again, before you leave your full-time job and launch your company full-time, it really does matter that you have at least anywhere from 6 to 12 months of living expenses as a safety net. I would even say up to a year. That way you're not stressing out about having to pay your mortgage and about paying your business bills at the same time. Like, there's nothing more stressful than paying your mortgage, having to worry about paying your mortgage, and then having to stress about meeting payroll. So as long as you have that 6 to 12 month financial cushion to take care of those living expenses, then you only have to worry about one other thing, about your business expenses. So it's definitely important to build that financial cushion. Budgeting for your startup, right? What are the one-time expenses that you're going to need? For example, if you're starting out your business, the registration fees, perhaps some type of licensing fees, depending on what type it is. Your website, your first initial cost of your website. So again, what's the one-time expenses? And then the ongoing expenses. For example, that may be software, employee salaries, insurance, utilities, rent. Those kind of things are ongoing monthly basis. I would suggest to overestimate the cost because you never know. It's better to overestimate than underestimate cost. Nothing gets you more frustrated than you underestimate and now you got to come up with the additional cost. It's better to like overestimate. Oh, I overestimated by 20%. Now I have this money as a safe cushion. So that's the important part. So building that and knowing what your ongoing costs, and reduce those ongoing costs too. Like, do you really need all of these different types of software subscriptions? Determine whether or not you actually need it and who uses it. Does it really make you money? For example, I use Camtasia software, which is the software I'm currently using to record this presentation, and I've already paid a one-time fee for it to get at first, and I pay a yearly subscription fee for it. But I really need the software to do the videos that I do. And I looked at other software subscriptions that I has, like, I really don't use this. It's time to cancel it. When it comes to funding options, there are a variety of different funding options that you have, and you really have to know, which one is the best for you and when you need it, right? The typical one, the bootstrapping, using your own money, that's the typical one. Like, a lot of business owners start off the current business they're in full time. They probably start off as a side hustle or something on the side on a part-time basis, and they finally were able to build enough cash to launch it and go full time on it. Or again, they use their own savings to supplement, use their own savings to launch their company. Community funding, right? Family and friends invest in it. That could be part of it. That's what community funding. Ask your family and friends. Loans and grants, of course, there are loans out there that you may be applicable for or qualify for, but you'll need to do your homework in terms of the loans and be very careful at the type of loans they are. Like, look at the interest rate on those loans. Don't just get a loan for the sake of getting a loan. And just like in life, right? People that get loans are the people who really don't need it. Unfortunately, whether or not you agree with it, it's the same thing in business, right? Banks are going to give loans to people who have good financials, and sometimes they don't even need the loan, but just they need it for cushion or for growth expansion. Of course, there are grants out there available for profit companies. So just look at your local chamber of commerce or look at your local organizations. There may be some grants out there that you qualify and you apply for. But just know for grants, hundreds of thousands of people are applying for those grants. So don't overkill yourself if you didn't get the grant, or don't overkill yourself with the application process for a grant. Especially if you're a for-profit company. You need to focus on sales instead of so much on grants. Crowdfunding, if it makes sense for you, some platforms like Kickstarter and others, you can raise money. Just be very wary that you're gonna have to deliver on something that you promised, and what are you gonna do with that money? Again, if you're going to explore funding options, what type is it, and how is that going to help your growth goals? One of the most important things is that when you're starting a company, you have to separate your personal and your business finances. That is the first thing you do. When I first started when I did my first startup years ago, and I won the Best Social Venture Award for it, that prize money that I received, I used that initial cash to open up a business bank account. And so with a different bank from my personal bank. So like my personal bank is one, and then my business is account is definitely in a separate one of a different bank. Done on purpose, because that's one of the things I was trained on, is like you got to keep those expenses separate. And so that's what I did, and that's what I initially did, and I established a business banking account, and that's what you got to do. Open one, just got to separate the accounts and track all your expenses. I would not encourage an Excel spreadsheet. There are accounting softwares out there, very user friendly bookkeeping tools that's going to keep your business expenses intact. You can connect your business credit card, your business bank account to it, so you can keep track of your expenses. Again, there are many out there, QuickBooks and Wave and others out there. So it is worth the money, because you want to stay legal, you want to protect yourself legally, and you want to be tax compliant. So, invest the money in an accounting software, and definitely open up a business account. One of the things, pricing for probability, right? Price up, markup, total cost. One of the things about pricing is probably there's a science to it. I remember years ago I attended this conference that SCORE, SCORE, was hosting a number of years ago, and it was like a one-day thing on a Saturday, and one of the sessions was the science of pricing, if I recall that what the workshop was about. And there was this gentleman who owned a grocery store, was part owner in it, and he talked about like the pricing of product is a science to it, right? Because price it too low, you're not going to make money. Price it too high, people may not buy if they don't see the value in it. So you got to get in that middle sweet spot where the consumer will buy it and you're going to make profit. Again, this is where the industry experience comes into play. So if you have industry experience, then it's a little bit much more easier to figure out how to price your product or your service. But when you're pricing for profitability, you have to know, okay, what's the cost? How much time and effort am I putting into this? If this is like a consulting type company, like how many hours am I putting in to deliver this product or service? And then how much, mark up at least 30-40% on that. That way you're making some type of profit. Plus, all your expenses. If you're doing a particular physical product, you have to, what's your total cost on it, and of course you have to mark it up to make a profit on it. And also, when you mark it up a bit higher, you have the flexibility to give a discount. So let's say, for example, your total cost for building a particular product costs you $5, right? For example, I'm just throwing numbers out there. And you sell it for $20, you have the room at least to give a discount. Hey, I'm giving 20% off, 25% off. Because if your product costs you $5 and you sell it for $8, you have zero room basically for any profit, or to give any. You have very zero room to give a discount, right? Business and legal structure, how you set up your company, and of course you can work with your local SCORE organization, your local chamber of commerce, to help you out how you want to set up your legal structure. One of the most famous ones that people typically set up their businesses is a limited liability company. Again, you would have to do your homework on this as to what structure makes the most sense for you as the type of company you're starting. If you're doing a partnership, that would look different in terms of the legal structure, because the way that you set up your company is also, there's different business taxes for it. So again, work with a professional to see what makes the most sense for setting up your business legally. Managing cash flow. Cash is king in business. If you don't have cash, you don't have a business, and that's one of the things that kills businesses, is they don't have enough cash to meet their obligations or to grow, right? A lot of companies, businesses are paycheck to paycheck in a sense. Something like with individuals, companies are paycheck to paycheck, and they need cash to grow, but they can't have the cash. They don't have the cash. And so that's why you have to have really good managing skills on your cash flow. You don't want to grow too fast where you don't have enough cash to go with it, but you don't want to grow too slow either. But having a good cushion of cash is really helpful. Creating a financial action plan, just like you would create a personal action plan for your finances, you would have to do it, of course, for your own personal, for your business, right? The first month or two, create a financial foundation. The foundation is extremely important because it's really going to be the stepping stones for everything else. Set up your legal and tax setup, pre-launch financials, and then, of course, get into it once you've launched your business. One of the main things that once you know what your business is going to be, getting those financials in order is going to be extremely helpful at the very beginning. If you have a partner, if you're going to have a partner in your business who's, whatever ownership stake you guys have or partners, the best thing y'all can do before you officially launch your company and make your first dollar is to have everything written in contract form and signed. You can have an attorney look over it, which I highly recommend if you're going to have business partners, but you got to get it in writing. Never go for, and I highly recommend, never to start a business with a partner or partners and not have anything in written format, because it's going to get dicey and messy once money starts playing into a role and there's money coming to it, because if there's nothing in writing, people are just going to act a little different, even if they're family members, and I've seen it happen before. There are plenty of resources out there that you can look at. Small Business Administration, also SCORE mentors. There's Women Business Centers, small SBDCs out there in your local community, chambers of commerce as well. There are online learning platforms as well. There are tons of courses out there, whether it's free or you pay for it through Coursera, Udemy, LearnGenics, LinkedIn Learning, and others that give you some of this help in terms of business, financing, accounting, and financial management. You don't have to be a CPA or an accountant to start a business, but learning the language of business, which is accounting, is really going to help you in the future for your business, right? Again, you don't have to be an expert, but at least understanding the basics of accounting as a business owner is extremely important. That way you won't be taken advantage of, and you understand, your profit and loss statement, your cash flow statement, your income statement. Understanding those and your balance sheet, right? Understanding your balance sheet, your cash flow statement, and your income statement. Also known as profit and loss statements, and of course community resources. Again, there's plenty out there to help you out in getting things, get the ball rolling. Again, thank you for watching this. Please share this within your network. And again, if you want to work together, feel free to send me an email. Check out learngenics.com. Check out the courses there are. There we do have accounting for business owners courses out there, so please check those out. If you have any questions, again, feel free to shoot me an email, and thank you for watching this video.